June 21, 1982. In a quiet room at St. Mary's Hospital in Paddington, London, Diana endured labor with her first child, a future king whose birth had the world waiting and watching. Still just 20 years old, Diana was barely out of her teens. Fear mixed with relentless pain as the hours slowly passed. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the hospital and out of Diana's sight, a different drama was unfolding. Representatives from the palace had already arrived. They moved quietly behind the scenes, preparing the official record. Some moments from this day would be remembered forever, others would simply fade away, and in the center of it all stood Dr. George Pinker. The royal obstetrician had spent his career welcoming the newest branches of the royal family tree. He skillfully balanced care for his patients with the unique demands of the monarchy. But what really happened during William's birth and what Dr. Pinker was ordered to conceal would follow him to his grave in 2007. Diana quotes, "Contractions began at 9 p.m. on June 20th back at Kensington Palace. When her water broke, a sharp pain shot through her. She clung to the armrest, her body folding in on itself. 'Charles,' she called out, her voice trembling. 'It's starting.' He appeared, startled and uncertain. 'Was she absolutely sure?' he asked. Pain shot through Diana, sharper than ever before. She clung to Charles's hand, her grip desperate. 'We have to leave,' she whispered, her voice trembling not with joy, but with genuine fear. At just 20 years old, Diana felt uncertain and unprepared for what was ahead. Her mother, Frances, had stayed distant throughout the pregnancy. The royal family's advice had always been cold and formal: do your duty, nothing more. Charles didn't hesitate. He called for the car, and soon they were on their way to St. Mary's Ent. At 10:15 p.m., Diana was admitted to the private Lindo wing. With this simple choice, she became the first Princess of Wales to give birth in a hospital instead of the palace, boldly breaking royal tradition. The palace didn't approve, and Diana felt their disapproval deeply. Inside the labor suite, she had privacy, but she was still under scrutiny. Gripping the bed's railings, Diana faced wave after wave of pain, each one taking her breath away. She cried out. Dr. Pinker, calm and reassuring, told her to keep breathing, but Diana was struggling. Overwhelmed by fear and pain, she felt herself slipping. She was alone, no mother to comfort her as she faced this ordeal head-on. Charles lingered close by, uncertain and uneasy. His voice was barely more than a whisper. Should he call for help? He spoke into the silence, unsure if anyone would hear. Diana could only plead, reaching for his presence as much as his hand. "Please, just stay," she gasped. But Charles edged toward the exit. "I think I will wait outside," he muttered. Diana's voice broke with desperation. Do not leave me." The prince offered a hollow reassurance. "You are in good hands." Then he slipped away, leaving Diana surrounded by strangers, her fear and agony echoing in the sterile room. Tears streamed down her cheeks as reality pressed in around her. A midwife, Sarah Matthews, stepped forward and squeezed Diana's trembling hand. "Let him go. You don't need him," Sarah whispered gently. "You are so much stronger than you believe." Diana shook her head, her voice trembling with pain. "I'm not strong. I'm falling apart." The next contraction hit her, powerful and overwhelming. Diana screamed, her voice raw and unguarded. Through it all, Sarah didn't flinch. She stayed right by Diana's side, steady as a lifeline. Meanwhile, in a quiet hospital office, a different kind of drama was taking place. Sir Marcus Petton, the palace private secretary and the Queen's trusted envoy, had arrived by 11 p.m. Briefcase in hand, authority in every gesture, he strode into the office where Dr. Pinker waited. "Dr. Pinker," he said, his tone firm. "Sir Marcus," the doctor replied. "The princess is progressing well." Sir Marcus interrupted him, not showing a hint of emotion. "I'm not here about her progress." He opened his briefcase and pulled out several heavy folders. Diana's complete prenatal file. "Here are the psychological assessments from March and April, along with reports from her nutritionist describing her struggles with disordered eating." Dr. Pinker felt a sudden jolt in his gut. Inside those files was Diana's entire story. Her depression and bulimia, her panic attacks, and the honest confessions of feeling trapped, even thoughts of ending her own life. Each page held something deeply personal, unguarded, everything Diana had ever shared. Every detail of her psychiatric history was being destroyed, page by page. Sir Marcus worked in silence, fully aware of the risks. If these secrets ever surfaced, Diana's vulnerability, her struggles, people would talk. Rumors about her suitability, the legitimacy of her child, even questions about the royal bloodline, could spiral out of control. Dr. Leip's notes about Diana's frequent weeping and feelings of hopelessness in her marriage met the same fate as the others. The nutritionist's alarming charts showing rapid weight loss during pregnancy and notes about purging were also destroyed, one after another in the shredder. Can you imagine how the tabloids would feast on this? Sir Marcus asked coolly, his voice measured but cold. Dr. Pinker looked him in the eye. I know what's real. Diana needs help. Shredding these files won't cure her pain. Sir Marcus's expression remained unchanged. Reality, he said, is what we decide it is, and we have made our choice. Princess Diana is healthy. Understood. Meanwhile, in the labor ward, Diana's tears were about more than just the pain gripping her body. The loneliness was even harder, a deep, aching sense of abandonment. Charles had come back for a brief moment, only to slip away again, quietly saying, I cannot bear to watch. It is too much. That's what Charles insisted before leaving, but Diana could only stare after him, outrage building beneath her exhaustion. She wanted to shout, to make him understand. Too much for you? I'm the one facing the storm right here, right now. Another wave of pain took her breath, and she clung to the bed, her small frame shaking with sobs. Sarah Matthews, calm and unwavering, knelt beside her. You're doing brilliantly, she whispered, her hand gently wrapped around Diana's. You're so strong. Diana quotes. Eyes were wide, searching for reassurance. I'm not strong, I'm terrified. Sarah offered a gentle smile. Being afraid and pushing through anyway, that's true strength. Diana squeezed the midwife's hand, holding on to the hope she offered. Around 1:30 in the morning, Dr. Pinker returned to the labor room. His jaw was tight, his movements quick, and the strain of the past hour showed clearly on his face. He had just witnessed Diana's most personal suffering, her bulimia, her depression, and her deepest secrets being torn apart, piece by piece, at Sir Marcus's command. Her truth, now nothing but ribbons of shredded paper, was being erased from official history. But Diana didn't see the tension in his voice, or the worry in his eyes. She had no strength left, only the relentless waves of pain. How much longer? She gasped, desperate for relief. You're 8 centimeters, Dr. Pinker answered gently. You're very close now. Still, Dr. Pinker answered gently. You're very close now. Pinker's mind kept drifting, haunted by the sound of the shredder echoing in his memory. Sir Marcus's icy resolve as he destroyed the evidence, and Pinker's own powerlessness to stop him, gnawed at Pinker. Here he was helping bring new life into the world, while Diana's truth was hidden and erased. It was a cruel twist of fate, cutting him deeply. By 2:15 a.m., Diana had reached the final stage. Dr. Pinker announced quietly. It is time to push. Diana turned to him, her eyes clouded with defeat. I cannot, she breathed, her voice nearly gone. There is nothing left in me. But Sarah Matthews leaned in, her encouragement steady and warm. You absolutely can. Your baby is almost here. A powerful contraction surged through Diana, relentless, consuming. Push now, Dr. Pinker urged, his voice urgent. Diana bore down, screaming, feeling as though her body might break apart. Do not stop, he said again. Over and over she pushed, each wave of pain greater than she could have imagined, an agony that threatened to overwhelm her. I can see the head, Dr. Pinker called out. Just one more. Diana gathered every bit of willpower she had left and poured her strength into one final push. At 9:03 in the evening on June 21, 1982, Prince William Arthur Philip Louis entered the world, weighing just over 7 pounds. As Diana collapsed into the pillows, overcome with emotion, the newborn was gently placed on her chest. She gazed in awe at his delicate face, the tiny perfection of his hands, and those deep blue eyes so new to the world. Hello, she whispered, a fragile smile trembling on her lips. Hello, my beautiful boy. I am your mother, and I love you more than anything. William's tiny fingers curled instinctively around hers, and in that moment everything else, the isolation, the fear, the hours of pain, simply faded away. Only then did Charles enter the room. For nearly half a day he had chosen to stay away, wandering through other parts of the hospital, browsing newspapers, sipping tea, making phone calls, doing anything to avoid the reality of his wife's labor. Now, standing awkwardly at the end of her bed, he felt a flicker of pride as he saw his son for the first time. He immediately picked up the phone to share the news with the Queen. It is a boy, ma'am, 7 pounds, healthy. Diana watched him, her baby still nestled in her arms. She saw, all too clearly, that Charles's first instinct was not to savor the moment, but to report it. She hugged her child tighter, fully aware of what and who was still absent. Well done, Charles managed to say, the words stumbling out as he set down the receiver. His voice held no tenderness, no awe. He didn't say he was proud or mention her strength or resilience, just a flat clinical well done, as if she'd simply completed a task by delivering an heir. Diana lowered her gaze, focusing on William's tiny face. She no longer sought Charles's approval. In her arms was something far more important, her son Dot. Meanwhile, down the corridor in a quiet office, Sir Marcus Piton snapped his briefcase shut. The shredder had finished its work. Every trace of Diana's psychological struggles had been erased, her therapy records gone, nutritionist concerns destroyed, and the honest admissions of her private pain now just shredded scraps in the trash. The official story would be very different. According to the history books, Diana Spencer, the Princess of Wales, had a completely normal and healthy pregnancy. No signs of illness, no hint of difficulty. That was the version the world would hear, and the groundwork was already being laid. Sir Marcus picked up the phone and dialed the Buckingham Palace press office, prepared to share the polished official tale. The official word spread quickly. The princess had given birth to a healthy son at 9:03 p.m. Reports said both mother and child were doing well. The palace announcement was clear and reassuring. No complications, a routine delivery, nothing unusual. With that, the carefully crafted story became reality. By morning, Diana's image, radiant mother, bearer of a future king, would appear on every newspaper front page. There would be no sign of her hidden struggles, no mention of depression or bulimia, none of the messy truth that had been quietly pushed aside. When Dr. Pinker finally left the hospital at 4 in the morning, feeling completely drained and quietly shattered, he'd played his part, helping welcome a healthy baby prince into the world, a joyous event by any standard. Yet beneath that victory, he felt a deep sense of betrayal. He'd seen Diana's pain, tried to help her, and then watched helplessly as Sir Marcus erased it all. Every page mattered: her cries for help, the medical notes, the sleepless nights, her desperate confessions. All of it was discarded, swept aside by a palace official whose only concern was protecting the crown's flawless reputation. And Dr. Pinker, he had just stood by, doing nothing to stop it. All he could muster were a few weak objections. In the end, Dr. Pinker protected his own position, his job, his reputation, instead of standing up for Diana and making sure her struggles were recognized. Now, he sat slumped behind the wheel in the hospital car park. Early morning light spilled across London's skyline, and the tears came for Diana, for himself, and for the profession that had so completely failed her. Years passed by. In 1995, Dr. Pinker found himself transfixed by Diana's Panorama interview. He listened intently as she spoke with disarming honesty, sharing her battle with bulimia, her struggles with depression, and how life in the palace had made her feel invisible, even unstable. "They made me feel like I was going mad," Diana revealed to the world. But Dr. Pinker knew the truth. She was never mad. She was desperately fighting to keep her head above water. He remembered every assessment, every document that Sir Marcus had fed into the shredder. It wasn't until 2007, as the end drew near, that Dr. Pinker finally confessed to his daughter. With his voice barely above a whisper, he admitted, "I destroyed Princess Diana's medical records. The palace told me to erase the evidence of her struggles. I watched the truth disappear, and I said nothing." His daughter sat quietly beside him, stunned into silence. Then she pressed, "Why did you not refuse?" Dr. Pinker's answer was stark. He admitted that fear guided his actions. Protecting his own career became more important than defending Diana's reality. He told her he had tried to justify it, saying he was safeguarding the monarchy. But in truth, he was only shielding himself. 3 days later, he slipped away quietly, the details of that night remaining locked within him. Still, his daughter carried the weight of his confession. And with time, she found her own voice to share this story. Diana would never know the full truth about what happened during William's birth. As she struggled and labored to bring her child into the world, decisions were being made, nearby decisions that would erase the deepest parts of her experience. She lived with the knowledge that her privacy had been invaded. People in power had turned her life into a story fit for the headlines, but she never realized the cover-up began that very night. Not while she screamed in agony, or as her newborn was placed in her arms. She would never suspect that Dr. Pinker, the one who guided her through the pain, was also involved in silencing her suffering. And yet, against a backdrop of secrets and betrayal, one truth remained: William was born healthy, perfect, and deeply loved. Diana's devotion was clear to everyone who saw their bond. Her love for her son was unmistakable, but while that love was celebrated, the pain she endured was quietly ignored. Her struggles, her suffering, her need for psychiatric care, her eating disorder were erased, as if they never existed. the palace carefully chose which parts of her story to share, drawing invisible lines through her past and deciding which chapters would stay and which would vanish forever. The decisive erasure happened on June 21st, 1982, the very night Diana fought to bring William into the world. Vulnerable, frightened, and alone, she had no idea that powerful people had decided her suffering was too dangerous to acknowledge. The records of her struggles, her cries for help, were seen as threats to be handled, not as pleas to be understood. Dr. Pinker watched in silence while Sir Marcus turned Diana's truth into confetti, shredding sheet after sheet until nothing remained. In the years that followed, the world often wondered why Diana's spirit seemed to unravel after William's birth, why her pain lingered, even though she had a beautiful, healthy son. The real answers, the documented facts, were long gone. Her prior pain could never be proven. The palace had made sure of that. The records had disappeared. Her depression, starting well before William's birth, her eating disorder that grew worse over time, and the overwhelming anxiety that left her struggling to breathe, each one was carefully noted, each one real, and all of them erased. What was left was a sanitized version after the birth. Diana simply lost her mind. The true story that she had been suffering all along and was left alone when she needed help vanished with those files. The Crown demanded a different version, a version where the truth wasn't just inconvenient, but disposable. On that June night in St. Mary's Hospital, as Diana's labor cries echoed down the corridor, her story was already being taken apart behind closed doors. In the palace, they were busy shaping her legacy, quietly deciding which parts of her would remain and which would simply disappear. Meanwhile, Diana focused all her strength on bringing her child into the world, unaware that just a few rooms away, her own history was being carefully erased. She would never know that, as she became a mother at 9:03 p.m. Meanwhile, others worked just as tirelessly to erase every sign of her pain. Diana's raw, honest story disappeared quietly, sometime around 2 a.m. that night. Under one roof, two monumental moments took place: the arrival of a future king, celebrated all over the world, and the quiet erasure of his mother's real struggles. The world rejoiced at one moment, the other faded into secrecy. Dr. Pinker was the link joining both. He carried the weight of these two realities, one beloved, one hidden for the rest of his life. He knew his actions brought forth a prince, but also erased a mother's truth. That second act, the part he kept hidden from the world, haunted him for the rest of his life.